Good afternoon. This is Jim Whitehead. It's good to be here. This is All Power Group and the Phoenix Animal. Today we're a Phoenix Animal shop, I guess you might say. And what we're going to talk about, and you know, we love the animals that we have in the country. And in some cases, things get unbalanced and things don't work out real well in the sense of one animal gets, overhunted, and it leaves other animals that can grow, that shouldn't have that amount of, community. So bottom line, what we're talking about today is the reintroduction. And I didn't, until I looked this up, I didn't know we had an issue in the western part of our country with the wolf population. Wolves, you love them all. They look like your dogs. I know they certainly are different because, again, they're wild. But they're still good, and I always feel that way. So in speaking, going along here, in the historical presence of wolves across North America and their ecological significance, the dramatic decline of wolf populations in the 20th century due to human activities such as, staring right at you, that wolf is saying, come on, bring me back, bring me back. Anyway, the problem we have, human activities. One of them is a lot of farmers out there, they feel, and admittedly, if they have, they raise beef, for example, that wolves could get in and take some of their animals. We get it. There's always a motivation of saying, I have cattle, and wolves are kind of occasionally taking one. So then they think, well, let's make sure we kill all of the wolves. So then I'm okay in my business. I get it. But the problem is, as you see as I get into this, that you can get a real unbalanced situation, which in the long run doesn't really help anything. Anyway, we have hunting that's a problem. We also have habitat loss. Now, in all my presentations, when I talk about whether it's the Amazon, now we're talking about the West, there's things where people destroy habitat that would be where a wolf would want to live. And if somebody comes in and does something to change the land, and for example, another problem with this is losing water sources. And I know everything is linked, so it isn't where one topic is all exclusive of not being able to say other things. But let's face it, with our climate change, there are places that used to be nice and wet, a lot of rain, rivers, lakes, that have dried up. So that's another cause of throwing off the balance here. How the absence has impacted ecosystems and the cascading effects on prey populations. Again, as I said earlier, you want to have a balance. And, if you're a farmer and you're trying to take care of your cattle, and I know you're saying, well, I put them up in the East Ridge and they're there by themselves. Yes, admittedly, they're relatively unprotected. But farmer-wise, you want to make, some suggestions. By the way, as a little interruption, thank you, Michael Jackson knows. Love you watching tree grow, or Negro. Well, anyway, thank you for being here. Really, really appreciate it. But the other thing is the effects on prey population, vegetation, and even water resources, which I'm showing you. A new era, the recent trend of reintroducing wolves into their former ranges focuses on specific successful cases in, for example, Yellowstone. You're looking at one of the geysers. Don't go in there. It's not for swimming. Anyway, Yellowstone National Park, and one of my favorite places is the Rocky Mountains. As an aside, I haven't hiked in quite a while. I used to hike a lot in the Smoky Mountains, but in 1989, my wife and I, we flew to Denver, and we had a ball up in the Rocky Mountain National Park. And we hiked, and when you're hiking in the Rockies, I got to be honest, it is pretty interesting. And you have to be very careful. You have to bring food, water, comfortable boots, and of course, try to bring your camera so you don't miss any of this. But we enjoyed the Rocky Mountains. The scientific rationale behind rewilding, and that's what they call this, rewilding efforts, emphasizing the importance of apex predators in maintaining healthy ecosystems. So we get into, again, the wolf population had been reduced over the years for all the things I've already mentioned. But it throws off the balance of that area. And I know some farmers would say, oh, no, don't bring wolves back, please, please. We need them. We need them. Anyway, the controversy surrounding wolf reintroduction, exploring concerns from ranchers, and the potential for human-wildlife conflict. And, if I was a farmer, I would do what I had to do with my property so that I didn't have to kill any of these wild animals. I think if the easy way from the point of view of a farmer is saying, oh, I just kill them in the sense of the wolves. But in reality, you've got to really more work in the direction of keeping your animals protected and leave anybody else alone, animal-wise. Ecological impacts, the trophic cascade effect of wolves on prey populations, demonstrating their role in regulating elk. What a beautiful elk, huh? I hope you're recognizing that it is looking at you and saying, thank you for helping me and taking care of me. Also, deer. Yeah, that was a hard picture to get the close up. But anyway, we do whatever we have to do. But anyway, we need to have it where the numbers are balancing. And nature's nature. There's not, you don't mess around with nature if you can avoid it. And we have done enough with, of course, I don't believe in hunting. Just an aside story. I'm a ham radio person, and we have, when I was over in the other side of the state of Florida on the East Coast, we had clubs and we would go out and do ham radio, which is great. There was one young guy, and I know I tell you these little side stories, but he was going to go hunting. And all of a sudden, he was a nice guy. I liked him. you get to know them and you work with them, and we all learn from each other. But one day he posts a picture of a deer, a beautiful deer that you're looking at, not that one, but one like it, on the front of his car, tied to the hood. Of course, dead. And he's showing that off to all the ham buddies. Look at me. I'm cool. I shot this deer, and I'm bringing it home. Well, guess what? I dropped him from any type of direct conversation or action because that's just not acceptable. You don't need to do it. The only thing I really understand, if someone's in the middle of nowhere and they haven't eaten, I understand hunting for that purpose. But personally, I wouldn't want to get into a situation where I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I'm like, ooh, I forgot to bring food. So now I'm going to shoot animals so I have something to eat. Avoid it at all costs, but bottom line, it might happen where you get into a situation. Let's say you're hiking, you go into the bushland country, and you think you're going to only be there 3 days. You bring enough food and water for 4 days, and something happens, and your trip gets extended in time. So you made a mistake. I get it, but you still have to have it where you can survive. And there's a lot of different things you can do, and admittedly, you might. I think before you go into any type of population like that, you need to look at where there's water sources and there's things that are wild that you might be able to eat. Like say, for example, when we were kids, I was a kid once, remember, even though I'm 75, we used to go in the woods looking for blueberries. Oh man, when we'd see blueberries growing wild, we would have a ball. Raspberries or blackberries, some call them different things. But, we would certainly, if we got lost, we would have something to consume. So what they also, in regulating elk and deer numbers, they need the wolves. How the introduction of wolves have resulted in a more diverse and resilient ecosystem with increased biodiversity. I mean, again, if you do what you need to do to protect your animals, you let the other animals that we're all talking about and the wolves, leave them alone, and they will balance out just through normal, nature processes. The potential for wolves to control invasive species. Now, you might say, well, I never thought of that. Such as elk grazing on riparian zones, which can help restore healthy water ecosystems. So, again, it's sad, and I didn't know that we were in a situation until I did this presentation that we needed to reintroduce wolves to the western part of our country because they've been overkilled, and it's an unbalanced kill. They need to live and do their thing. We need to live and do our thing. We have animals, and we need to take care of our animals. I know I've said that about 4 times, but bottom line, and what I'm showing you now, human-wildlife coexistence, exploring the development of effective strategies to mitigate potential conflicts between humans and wolves, including livestock guarding dogs and non-lethal deterrence, highlighting the importance of public education, and community engagement in promoting understanding and the tolerance of wolves. Examining the economic benefits of wolf reintroduction, such as ecotourism and value of a thriving ecosystem. So, in other words, you know, if you go visiting and you're just going to do looking at nature, and if you didn't know, you'd say, gee, I thought there was supposed to be wolves out here. And I know you got to protect yourself, you got to be safe, I get it, but, you know, please, you're not going to go out there and hunt these animals. You take your wonderful cameras that have a long zoom and just enjoy all the animals that you can take pictures of and have for the rest of your life. So, you know, if somebody said, I'm going to go to the West, and somebody'd say, well, there used to be wolves out there and elk and deer, and they're all gone. You'd probably say, where'd they go? And you'd say, well, people killed them. I'm not sure if you would then say, I don't know if I really want to do this or go on that type of trip. Anyway, the future with wolves, the ongoing debate surrounding wolf management and the role of humans in balancing conservation with human needs, emphasizing the importance of scientific research and monitoring to understand the long-term impact of the wolf reintroduction. Now, you know, if you can do anything, you know, there's a lot of, and the neatest thing with any of the social media platforms, they have animal channels all over, and any animal that you're interested in, you can join a club, and you will learn so much, and I think develop a respect that as much as we deserve to live, they deserve to live. But anyway, working toward wolf conservation and promoting a sustainable future for humans and wolves. You know, we're smart, and if we use our head, plan accordingly, and don't get off on the fact that hunting is a good idea. It's not. And again, only if you're not going to make it if you don't. But if you're just going on a little leisurely horseback ride and you say, oh, I see a wolf, I'm going to pull out my gun and shoot it. No, please don't. Because I don't think and excuse me, you know, I say weird things, but if it was basically where you had to survive, we understand the circumstances. But bottom line, in today's world, you can make sure that you have what you need to make sure you're safe and that you don't have to do anything to any other animal. And you enjoy being there. Anyway, I'm seeing on my chat, Michael Jackson's Nose. Would you rather watch a tree grow or a knee grow? I got to be honest, I'm not really sure what that comment is, but you know, the bottom line, every comment is appreciated, even if I'm too stupid to figure it out. But thank you very, very much. And I hope you kind of learned something today. That's the goal, to have it where if you get into these circumstances, hopefully you'll say, yeah, I remember that channel I watched, and he spoke all about wolves and elks and deer and the way our planet is changing. So we're trying to work together, and I admit every president and administration, we get into whether the recognition that we have to protect our environment. And, you know, the saying now again is, and that had gone away, drill, baby, drill. No. And what I've said before, and the last thing I'll say, there's opportunity to do things that are environmentally beneficial, but not have it where we lose money or we spend a lot of money. It's just thinking a little bit out of the box and what you can do to try to keep our beautiful country beautiful. But anyway, thank you very much for being here today. I look forward to these presentations. And I hope you're all doing well. And again, thank you for the people that are online with me. It always makes me feel better. It's like having a party and that no one shows up. Anyway, thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, and if you can subscribe and send me $1 million, that'd be appreciated. Only kidding. Only kidding. Take care. Be well.